Okay, wow, I missed that. So by the choice of one man, many. So that shows you the power of choice, and it must not be taken for granted. Yeah, the truth is that life would have been easier if if you didn't have to make a choice. Life would have been very easier but you will be a robot. And the best word to use if there was no choice is slavery. Yeah, a slave is the one that has no choice, or a beggar, like they say, has no choice. So God did not design us to be slaves. He designed us to be kings. He designed us to prove a particular point. He designed us to establish his dominion. And so he gave us the power of choice, the power to choose. But this is the effect of choice, that it can lead many, it can affect a generation. Yeah. And also through the obedience of one. So most times you would think it has to be the obedience of a nation. It's telling you the power of one making the right choice, and the power and the significance of every choice you make. So if you ever thought that your choices were not important, I want you to reschool yourself today, that your choices are key and important. Your choices are valid. Your choices are important. And so, like I said here, at this critical moment in time and history, not just God himself need men who can make wise choices. Families need men who can make choices. Organization needs men who can make right choices. Cities and nations need men who can make right choices. Even not making a choice is a choice. So for us, most of us definitely are written exams, and you can have options, and there will be an option to say none of the above. None of the above seems like don't choose from A to B or A to D, but E is none of the above. It looks like it's not a choice, but it's a choice, and it has its consequences. So it is not a function of no. Everyone needs to pay attention to the choices he or she makes, because it has effect. Now, the next thing I'm going to show is what choices are. Choices defined, because we need to define this thing and know what it's about. Yeah. Choice itself is an act of choosing between two or more possibilities. That means when you speak about choice, that means there are different and other possibilities. Yeah. Choice also means the right or ability to choose. Yeah. It also means a range of possibilities from which one or more may be chosen. Yeah. So choosing is a right, an ability that you and only you have in your life. So you cannot take responsibility for another man's choices. Neither can another man take responsibility for your choice. So it is your right and your ability, a God-given ability to choose. But why you must pay attention to this is what John C. Maxwell says, that life is a matter of choices. It's a chain reaction. For us who understand quality and processes, it simply means that life is a matter of processes, is a matter of choices you make. And every choice you make makes you. Every choice you make makes you. This is so important, because years ago, I heard a statement that struck me and said that my life today is the sum total of choices I have made. Where I am today and where you are today is the sum total of choices that you have made. And that's why I said you have one past, but you have many futures. So it depends on the choice that you make. Because at the end of the day, what you become is a accumulation of the choices that you have made. So this is plain language. Every choice you make makes you. Every choice you make makes you. Now, I want to be able to differentiate a little bit, because this is the mechanism of making choices, and it's important that we begin to see it. What is the key about choices? What do we need to do about choices? And it's important that we understand the difference between choices and decisions, because people mix them a lot, and you see that they don't make sustainable decisions. Why? Because they neglect the place of choices. Yeah. So choices talks about freedom. Like I said, it is your liberty. It is what you have been given. It has been freely given to you. You don't even pay for choices. Yeah, you just make it every day. Like I said, from studies, the average human being makes up to 70 choices, a day, about 25 before 9 a.m. That's incredible. So we don't. This is what we interact with every day. So it's a freedom. It's a freedom that we have, and it connects to the place of desired intentions, values, and beliefs. So choices stems from the place of desired intentions, values, and beliefs. Please, if my network, you can't hear me clearly, please just help me to, send a comment in the chat section, yeah, so that I can work on it. Thank you very much. Now, what are decisions? Decisions are determinism. What it means is that there's already a preset value. There's something already going on that you decide to say, okay, do I continue or not? So it's different from freedom, from choice, yeah? Decisions are different from choices, and it's by a thin line, because it connects to the place of behavior, performance, and consequences. And so don't rush to the point of decisions. Reconnect to the place of choices first. So choices are like foundations for decisions. And most people miss this point, because they go ahead and make decisions. Meanwhile, it's not from the place of choice. Let me try and give you a practical example. Yeah. For instance, growing up, and when my life began to take a new turn, and I decided that I wanted my marriage to be a model. So I chose that path, that whatever I'm going to be doing, yeah, whatever I'm going to be doing, I already have a mental picture of the home I want to build. Yeah. So it was my choice to say that in my home, there will be no strife. In my home is going to be a family of bliss. So that is my choice. You get it? So no matter what happens, every decision I make is in line with that choice. So I have the value of a family that honors God, a family that loves each other, a family of openness, a family of togetherness, a family of transparency. So these are my values. These are the choices I made, that I'm going to be open with my wife. I'm going to be, I'm going to be humble enough to take corrections. So these are the choices I made. So when I'm making decisions in terms of my behavior, it is based on the choices that I have made. So the error why people find themselves falling, rising, and making unsustainable decisions is because they have not made choices. I don't know if that's clear. If you make a choice, decisions are like building blocks on the choices that you have made. So most people, they have not connected to the place of beliefs and value. What is your value and belief concerning marriage? Now, for instance, I grew up from a polygamous home. Many of us are in my shoes, looking at our fathers. Yeah. So I was born into a polygamous home. Now, every trait I had was like, is this not a tendency that would flow? So another practical example, let me just digress a little bit. Yeah. Look at Moses in the Bible. Do you know that by virtue of lineage, Moses was the next Pharaoh? Can you beat that? That Moses was supposed to be the next Pharaoh in terms of inheritance. What changed his course? What changed his course was the choice he made. And scripture said concerning Moses that he chose to stay with the children of Israel, to stay in light, than dwell and enjoy the riches that were in the house of Pharaoh. So you see that choice is powerful. If not by lineage and by connection, by association, he was supposed to be, Pharaoh would just hand over to him. But choice changed the course of his destiny. Now, same was it for me. I had this scare and fear that, man, this polygamy, I could have those tendencies. But at the point of salvation, I made a choice that I'm going to be the husband of one man, one wife, and never in my life entertain any form of adultery or whatsoever. So it was a choice, and I began to build values, guided by values. So all my behaviors is now standing on a foundation. So, like I stated here, effective decision-making can only flow from a place of choice. So if you are struggling to keep your behaviors, you are struggling to keep your ability to perform in terms of even in your job, your workplace, if your performance is being challenged, check your choice. If you're in a wrong choice in terms of your workplace, maybe you didn't choose where you are, as in your profession, you don't like what you are doing, and you are struggling with performance, you need to go back to the place of choice, because that is where you are getting it wrong. If you see a man, it's just like a fish in water. If fish is outside water, no matter his performance is hampered, his performance, no matter the decisions he made outside water, is going to be a challenge. But when you throw a fish into the water, every decision he makes becomes a rhythm. It just flows. It's powerful. Why? Because it is based on his choice, his values, his beliefs, where he is, his environment. So you can see that the place of choice is key and powerful. Today, most people went for elections and they voted and they make decisions not connecting to choices, because their choices, people have given them something else. It's not based on values, it's not based on beliefs. And if it's even based on that, it's based on wrong values and wrong, because if you have wrong values and wrong beliefs, it will definitely lead to wrong decision making. So as men, as women, we must be able to understand the place of choice and pay attention to it, such that we'll now begin to build and make effective decisions. Because with those decisions comes consequences. So don't rush to the point of decision. Connect to your place of choice first. I hope somebody is getting something tonight. Yeah. Okay. So as I said, life is a journey. Choices are vehicles. Life is a journey. Choices are vehicles. We must understand that. So if you have your choices intact, no matter what is in front of you, whether it's a challenge or a decision beckoning at you, your choices will guide you in making the right, your choice might be making right decisions that can lead to the right consequences. So your choices ultimately determines your consequences, because that is where it stems from. Yeah. So life is a journey. It's not a marathon. No, it's a journey. And from the video I shared, you discover that when you are 1 degree on a flight, if you are 1 degree off course and you begin to go in that direction, before you know, you are like 100 degrees off course. So it's important that you take full responsibility for your choices, such that you can now make the right decisions that will give you the kind of consequences you desire. Yeah. Okay. Now, this is the definition when I said making decisions from the place of choice. Now, where is the place of choice? What is the place of choice? The place of choice is the crossroad between feeling fulfilled, and I call that purpose, and aligning with your values. This is the place of choice. As a human being, yeah, you need to know what makes you feel fulfilled. What is your purpose? What are you living for? Now, if you can define this and you have values, you have principles, yeah, that is the best place to begin to make decisions from. That is the place of choice. So if you have not been able to define your purpose and you don't have values and principles in place, I cannot guarantee, there's no guarantee for the kind of choices you will make. In fact, you will be challenged and you can't make healthy choices or decisions if you cannot define what makes you feel fulfilled. If you cannot define purpose and you don't have values, you can't make the right choices. Now, as a father, practical example, yeah, I began to say, oh, I want my kids to do this. I want my kids to do this. I want my kids. So I was trying to influence their choices. And I discovered that it was a wrong model. No, what I should work on is to give them a mental picture of their future. That means create possibilities of what they can be, what they should strive towards becoming, the kind of child they should become, what they should envisage. I should create a mental picture for them and begin to build values. When you have these things in place, they just automatically begin to make the right choices. But some of us, and that is why people believe in, when they do something wrong, you spank. When they do something wrong, you beat. And it's not sustainable. Most of us, we were beaten, we were spanked, we faced a lot of this. But the best way to hand over the power to choose right is to ensure that that personality understands its purpose and build principles and values. What do you value as a human being? What are your values? What is your purpose? If everyone that is making and voting in Nigeria today thinks of this, has basic values, values like, I don't take bribery, I'm not going to partake in corruption. These are my values. If a country or a nation has a purpose and its people has value, trust me, right choices will be made. But because people have jettisoned purpose, people have jettisoned values, wrong choices are being made. So if you must change any society or change your life, you must begin to do it from these two places. What is my purpose? And what are my principles? Because different things will beckon on you. Everything wants you to choose them. It's like a marketplace. Everything is calling on you. Your only guard is to make sure you have a purpose and you have principles. It's just like going to the market. Everybody wants to sell. If you leave your house going to the market to purchase things and you don't even have a list of what you want to buy and understand what you have to be able to purchase those things, you will just go to the market, make wrong choices, take wrong step. That's why people marry. The divorce rate is high. Out of school children are high. A lot of things are happening in our society today because people don't have values. People don't have purpose. We must reconnect to the place of values and purpose. And that is where effective decision-making can be done. And so, trust me, whatever you do, trying to gag people to make right choices, or I'm trying to use the political space a lot today. Yeah, because all this coming to campaign and all of a sudden you are bringing manifesto, it will not work. It will not work because you cannot instill purpose and principles in 1 year that you are trying to make a change. No, it is a system. It's something that it should be in the consciousness of everyone. Every organization, even as a family, you must have values, you must have your purpose clear for you to be able to make right choices. No matter who you are, if these are not in place, no choices you make will be guaranteed, or the outcome will not be as expected. You will just be, you won't end up in a place where you want to really end up. So check it. If you are making wrong choices, if you are not making sustainable choices, check it. You have issues with your purpose definition and your principles. You need to work on that. Yeah. Now I'm going to pause. I'm going to pause and ask this question. And I want you to be sincere about it. You're not going to maybe share or type or anything, but I think it's a question we should ask, dealing with choices. Yeah. And the question is this: how did you end up where you are now? I want you to look at yourself, look at your life, yeah, and ask yourself the critical question: how did I end up where I am right now? Yeah. Think about 3 decisions, just 3, you have made in your life, where if you had made a different decision, you would have had a completely different or a better life today. So I want us to do that exercise. I hope we are doing it. The chat room is quite quiet. I hope you can hear me. Please, if you can hear me, just say something on the chat room, please. Am I connecting with us today? Hello, everyone. Okay, great. Thanks for the feedback. Thanks for the feedback. Is it making sense? Is it helping? Good. Thanks. Thank you. So I want us to quickly do this exercise for just 1 minute. Yeah. So think about 3 decisions you have made in your life that if you had the opportunity to make a completely different decision, you would have had a completely different or a better life today. I want you to be sincere with yourself. Just take out that 1 minute to think about 3 decisions that you have made in your life, that if you made a different decision, you'd have had a completely different experience today. Yeah. So if you have done that, I hope you have been able to do that. Let's talk choices. What are decisions that if you had the opportunity to make, it would have been different? If you have a different experience, maybe you've made 3 decisions that you are very happy about, I want you to think about them. Just think about them. Okay, thank you. Okay, so if you've thought about yours, I want you to just answer the questions. Just answer the questions in the chat room saying, how do you feel? Just tell me how you feel. After you've thought about the decision, how do you feel? Do you regret them? Just feel free. It's all of us have gone through that. I can easily think about 3 that I've made, that if I had done a different or taken a different, decision or made a different choice, the outcome would have been different. So in the chat box, I just want you to type. Feel free to just type, how do you feel? Do you regret them? Those decisions. I'm waiting for us, so if we are there. I'm waiting for us. Are we still thinking? Okay, some could have been better. Thanks for that response. Some could have been better. Wow. It's important that we think about these things. Yeah, it's more that we think about the choices, that we have made so far. Great. Wow. Thanks for that feedback. I think I would have been better off if I had made certain choices. Great. So that's how you feel. Yeah, that's how you feel. And I completely understand. Most of us, we have been there, or we are still there, but there's a way out to be able to move forward. I'm still waiting for our feedbacks, please. How do you feel when you think about those choices you've made? How did you end up where you are right now? Would have been better. Thanks for that honest feedback. Thank you. Who else? Because it's important that that we think. Because if you can't think, somebody said if you can't think, you can't think. You know, and most of us, when we do that soul searching, yeah, we're just grateful to God, because the decisions would have taken our lives. The decisions would have, you know, the choices we have made there would have, you know, most of us made choices in secondary school, very crazy choices, to form a little gang where we'll be oppressing people. You know, those were choices we made. Some choices would have taken our lives. I want you to think about those choices. And sometimes you will feel grateful to God that if you were to face the consequences, you won't be here today. Do you understand? So that's the power of the ability to think, you know, ability to think. Well, thank you so much for the feedback so far. I think we'll move on because of time. Yeah, so please, everyone, take out time to meditate on that. It's powerful. So you begin to appreciate the place of decision-making and choices, yeah? And if those decisions, okay, wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, brother. A choice I made to stay back in Nigeria and pursue. So you see, those are honest feedbacks. You know, some people had the opportunity to move, you know, but made a choice. You could see how powerful choice is, you know, and right now they are looking for a second chance. And guess what? These are choices we have to make all the time. You know, choice of where I'm working would have been better. So those are choices. And it's critical, it's key. And guess what? For every choice you make, like I said, you're not the only one facing the consequence. Everybody in your value chain, as it were, is facing the consequence, yeah, of the choices. So it is very, very key and important. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah, I think we'll go straight to the next slide. Thank you. The chat room is interesting. Thank you. Okay, so I want to quickly touch on something, and I think when I was going through this, I decided to say, okay, why are we distracted? You know, what's going on? What can we do better to improve our ability to make choices and choose? And I discovered that different parts of the world, you know, and even great men, they have their secrets, you know, as to choices and how important choices are, yeah? So, like I said, choices are vehicles. Don't ever miss that. They are vehicles. You can desire to be something, but you can desire to say, I want to go to the shopping mall. It's just a desire. What will take you to the shopping mall is a vehicle. If I sit down in my house and say, I want to go to a shopping mall, I will remain here in one position, shopping mall will be there, I will never get to my destination. But when I choose, the choices I make will determine whether I will get to my destination and get to the expected end. So until I stand up, go to my vehicle, start up the car, and move in the direction of the shopping mall, make choices as I'm going, the U-turn to take, the path to take, do I take my left, do I take my right? You know, it now leads me to the shopping mall. So choices are vehicles. If you don't make a choice, you can't get to your destination. It's period. There's no two way about it. Now, sometimes, like I said, we have about 70 to make in a day. Then how can, like I put in the chat room, you know, I'm overwhelmed because 70 choices and I need to know. It's just like, I always use this example that destination defines processes, yeah? So if I want to get to the shopping mall, I need to know, I need to have an information, and that's why people use Google Map, to have an information about each choice they make, each turn. Where am I to turn? So just imagine that just to get to a shopping mall, I need to be able to understand everything. That's how daily living is. Every day you wake up, you are confronted with 7 decisions you have to make. Yeah, 70 based on study, you know. So choices are vehicles. If you don't handle choices well, it's just like not handle your vehicle well. You can't get to your destination. The journey will be cut short abruptly if you don't know how to make choices. So Kerry Russell says, sometimes it is the smallest decisions that can change your life forever. It is the smallest decisions that can change your life forever. For instance, I like to use marriage because I'm biased towards marriage. First of all, let me use this opportunity to thank my wife. Yeah, my amazing wife, my partner, you know. It's those small decisions like I love you every morning, yeah, or a little hug to your children. Those small decisions, or those small choices you make that can change your life forever. So you don't just wait until they get good grades before you give them a hug. You don't just wait until your wife cooks a palatable food for you before you say thank you. Do you understand? You don't just, and you expect your marriage to be big. No, if you desire a life that is going to be amazing, it is by a combination of little choices. Yeah, it can change your life forever. But there's something I learned much more, and I'm going to share that right now. Now, most of us know Steve Jobs. Yeah, this is the guy. He's late, but there's a secret I drew from his experience. Please, can you see my screen? Let me just take a feedback, please. Can you see my screen, please? Anybody? Thank you. Good. I needed that. So this is Steve Jobs. You know, Steve Jobs said something. He asks himself a question. This is the question he asks himself every day. So it's no mistake. These things are not by mistake. They are principles that even people who are of the world, not Christendom per se, they employ, and it works. This is the question he asks himself. He said, if today was the last day of my life, would I be happy with what I'm about to do today? This is a very critical question. If today was the last day of my life, would I be happy with what I'm about to do today? He's not asking himself at the end of the day. He's asking himself before the day starts. That's to show you he understands the power to choose. So, would I be happy with what I'm about to do today? And look at his response. His response is, if the answer was no, too many days in a row, he knew something needed to change. He knew that the choices I'm making are wrong. And so something needs to change. Can we do this every day of our life to say, if today was the last day of my life, will I be happy with what if I ask people that question today, they will ask themselves, are they even happy with where they are working right now? That's the place of choice. That's the power of choice. Am I even happy doing what I'm doing? When you start up every day, are you confident with all the steps you're about to take that day? Do you even have the information of what you're about to do that day? That is where the place of beginning to make right choices begin. Some people, life just happens to them. It is a wrong way to live. Don't allow life happen to you, because when you don't make choices, chances happen to you. And people will say, even if the Bible says, time and chance happened to them all. Let me tell you the them that it happens to. Yeah? The Bible says the race is not to the swift. The battle is not to the strong. Neither to bread to them that are wise. Do you understand? So these people he's talking about time and chance. They are the people who are strong, who are swift. So they don't just sit there and say, we are waiting for time and chance. No, they are swift. They are strong. They are wise. That is choice. Then chance happens to them. So opportunity meets preparation, like we always say. So if today was the last day of your life, if your answer is no repetitively, please check your choices. Check it. Yeah. So there was something he also did that helped him in terms of narrowing it down. And I want us to do that because I've discovered that most times as men, we major on the minors. What do I mean? Major on the minor. Yeah. So look at Steve Jobs. He wore same clothes and dressed the same patterns. If you look at his clothes, it's so simple. So Steve Jobs doesn't wake every morning to say, my shirt will be with Mac. Do you understand? He built routines around things with less consequences. I'm saying this because most of us, why our choices are distorted is because we major on the minor things. of less consequences. And we leave away the things that are major. You can major on, you are majoring on trivialities, majoring on what they are saying in the news, but your own life is not making news. Your own life is not making news, but you are majoring on who is fighting who, which party is happening this, and you are not a politician, but that is your major. You major on the time that you are going to look at status from A to the time on Instagram. You just major on minor things that have less consequences. So what he decided to do was to build routines around those things. Routines like what to eat, what to dress, those were routines. Yeah. And he focused his energy and time on important decisions. And that was what helped him to make incredible choices. And today he's celebrated. So please, we want to watch that. Yeah. Another example I'm going to give after this. Sorry. So another example I'm going to, and also, if you ask yourself, why do I dress the way I dress? Why? What consequence does it have? Do you understand? So I know some of us in our companies, you have to dress corporate. I'm not saying don't dress corporate, but please, that should not be in the top 10 things you are planning for your day, how your day will be productive, you know, and you are using minor things to fill in your space. No, you need to clear your space. Look at what Mark Z said. You know Mark Z, all of us know Mark Z. You can see his face there. He said, I really want to clear my life. This is a statement, yeah? Because you will find their imprints, you find their secrets in their stories and some comments they make. He said, I really want to clear my life to make it so that I have to make as few decisions as possible about anything except how to better or best serve this community. Look at that statement. It's loaded. So he wants to make few decisions about any other thing else apart from what he has been called to do. What, like I said, what his purpose is. Now, this man understands purpose and values. His purpose is saying that he wants to major. The only thing he wants to make more decisions about or choices about is what his purpose is. We have too many distractions and we must be able to tackle them for us to be able to make right choices. This is key. Now, raising families, most of us that are in Lagos, we understand the traffic and the rest. We must design schedules to ensure that our families don't suffer. You have to do that. Decisions that will make you best serve your purpose. Values that will make you best serve your purpose. That is what we should embrace. So having routine helps us to have a clearer mind when it's time to make tough and important decisions. Sometimes when it's time to make tough and important decisions, we are thinking about the pepper soup and the fish we are going to take to eat. It has clogged our mind, you know, and so we cannot really make effective decisions. Yeah, even about our and that's why scripture says, if you sow to the flesh, you will of the flesh reap corruption. But if you sow to the spirit, you will of the spirit reap everlasting life. That means there's a place to sow that gets reward. There's a place you sow. There's nothing there. Nothing. So we must be able to live the life, you know, live from the place where we don't major on the minors, yeah, so that we'll be able to make effective decisions and choices. Wow, we are moving. We'll soon get there. Soon get there. So how do we make good choices? Yeah, I've repeated most of these things, but it's good for me to just say them again. Ask yourself if the choice aligns with your purpose. So if you want to make good choices, the first question is this. Like we said, don't be in a hurry. Ask yourself, does this choice align with my purpose? The problem is that most people have not discovered their purpose. That's another symposium discussion. And I have people who are professionals on this call today to help with that. And we trust God that subsequently we'll have that session, because it is key to making right decisions and choices. Now, what is your purpose? Concerning even your health. Some people make wrong choices concerning their health, eat everything available, everything on the table, because they don't have a purpose. It's not, their diet is not aligning with their purpose. So ask yourself if your choice aligns with your purpose. Purpose should take precedence first. If you are single here, the choice of the lady you want to date, Ask yourself, this choice, this person I'm following, some guy came to me, years ago when I was doing my NYC, just to share this story quickly. Wow. He came to me and said, Femi, I like this girl a lot, but I don't know if it's God's will for me. And I looked at him in the face and I asked him a question. I said, why do you like this girl? So he listed a lot of things, then I think she came from the US to come and do NYSC, so he said, so these are the reasons why he likes the girl and the rest. I said, okay, it's simple. If you want to know the will of God concerning anything, the Bible says, no one knows the thing in the heart of a man, save the spirit of man. And no one knows the things in the heart of God, except the spirit of God. So the one that knows the will of God concerning any matter is the Spirit of God. And it's also called the Spirit of Truth. So if you tell yourself the truth about almost anything in life, you are 90% close to the will of God concerning that thing. I'll say it again. If you tell yourself the truth concerning any matter in life, you are 90% close to the will of God concerning that matter. And so when I asked him that, I said, tell me the truth. Why indeed do you want? I said, if you tell yourself the truth, you will know God's will. And we discovered that the truth is that it's just the lady will become a route for him to just move out of the country, not because of anything. Do you understand? So he was not able to find out God's will by understanding and embracing the truth. So what am I trying to say? Purpose is key. What is the truth about the choice you're about to make? It's very important. Research the possible outcomes. Listen, every choice you make has consequence. Research the consequence. I shared what Dr. Miles Monroe said, about consequences. Focus on understanding the consequence of your choice. Research it. It will guide your decision making. It is very, very important. Surround yourselves with good people, with people that make good choices. Yeah. Surround yourself with people that make good choices. Now, this is my own personal testimony. At a point in time, all of us, we all know now, we grew up with guys who were doing the everything. Where my life began to change was my association. I decided to surround myself with people who were making good choices, and I saw that living an exceptional life was possible. So it is important. If you must make good choices, you must surround yourself with people who make good choices, not choices that suit you, but good choices. Read autobiographies and or people you admire. This one is key. It's important. You are not the first in anything. See, there's nothing new under the sun, nothing. If there's anything you want to be, people have taken that road before. Read their autobiographies. You will find secrets there. It's very important. Then learn from your bad choices. Those bad choices you have made that you are regretting about, that we said earlier on, that you have thought about, learn from them. What did I do wrong? Did I pray to God? Did I seek God's counsel concerning it? Did I just wake up and make the decision? What was the pitfall concerning the decision I made then? So that you see, when you do this, there is a guarantee that you won't keep on making those wrong choices. And one person, in case in point, was David. Yeah, he made a wrong choice. He didn't learn from it. He continued making wrong choices. So if you refuse to learn from your bad choices and take the lessons and work on them, there's every probability that you keep making those wrong choices. And guess what? It's a power that you have. You need to use it well. Very, very important. Next slide. We're going to run through three things that are critical choice areas. Three things that you must pay attention to. The first of them is what you choose to feed on. See, like I said, you must narrow your span of choice making or decision making. That's the word. Narrow your span. Build routine around things that don't have consequence. These three things I'm about to share, they have consequences. So you must pay attention to them. They are critical. What you choose to feed on, the words you hear, the books you read shapes your personality. It shapes your outlook and your response in life. The words you hear. If you keep hearing hateful speeches, you will become a hater. Is it a hater? Yes, a hater. There's no two ways about it. If you keep hearing about what you hear is automatically you process it, and that's what you give out. You pass out that vibe, and it affects every choice you make. So it's important you take into consideration what you feed on. It's very important. This happened in the garden. The first man that we read about, that through his disobedience, what was his disobedience? He fed on something he was not supposed to feed on. Yeah, we must be careful. Every day we wake up, we must decide on what to feed on today. Because there are a lot of things going around, a lot of things calling our attention. Just like Adam was in the garden and God told him, of every tree eat. That was choice. Every tree eat, but this one don't eat. Don't eat of it, because what you take in is powerful. So we must take into consideration the words we hear, the things we allow within our space. It is critical. The words we hear, it is critical, very, very critical. If you hear about love, you become loving. That's it. If you boost your word of faith, you listen to God's word, you respond to things in faith. It's that powerful. If you listen to hopelessness, you become hopeless. If you listen to people concerning this country, Nigeria, you will just lose hope completely. So you want to be careful. And that would not, some people, even the Japa syndrome is out of fear, not out of anything, because of what they have heard, not because God is saying, this is what I want you to do. So people make wrong choices. So please, it should not be, if you hear fearful words, wrong words, it will influence the choices you make. And they will not be there tomorrow when you are facing the consequence. So you have to be careful. Your life and language mirrors your diet. What do you eat? There's no way you feed on pornographic stuff that you will not want to commit adultery and have premarital sex and the rest. There's no way. It's what you feed on. It's automatic. So if you must deal with it at the root, you must begin to consider what you feed on. And there's no vacuum anywhere. There's no vacuum. Scripture says, is like a man who an evil spirit has left him, and he left the place clean. He said he will come again to check. And when they come to check and see that the place is swept clean, they will bring 7 more wicked demons. So you don't leave any vacuum. You choose to feed on the right things daily, and that will not influence your ability to make the right choices. It is very, very important. You conform to the image you idolize. Please, your Facebook and Instagram time should not be more than the time you pay attention to your destiny and your life. If not, you will just be informed about other people's life. That's what it is. You will just have enough information about other people's life and you gain nothing out of it. So please take some time to invest into your future. What you feed on is critical. The next one is your thoughts and your words. Thoughts and words are powerful. We see this also in Genesis. The first man, God brought all the animals to him and said, name it. Whatever he called it, he talk. That's the power of thoughts and words. The label you put on you will stick. What you call yourself, and even how you describe circumstances and situations, those are powerful things, and those influence your choices. Practical example was in terms of Joseph, when they went to, God had already promised them that this is the destination I have for you, a land flowing with milk and honey. And so they sent spies to go in. And when they sent the spies came back and said, we saw giants. And that stuck. Because they saw giants, they were fearful. That was the interpretation of the scenario. But Joseph said, these people are meat for us. What he called it stuck. And that gave him the ability to go through it. So what you call life situations determines the choices you make. If you say they are coming to kill you, they will come and kill you. But if you believe in God and trust in God and put the right label on it, it will change. You make the right decisions in that direction. So don't give up too soon. I wrote something here. Whose script are you acting? Whose script are you acting? Are you acting the script of society? That says, no, this country, we can never make it. Is it a script of your family that says, in our family, this is how we are. This is the thing that happened in my family. Is in our family, and you choose to accept it. Don't say that. Is it tribal? This is in my tribe. This is how we are. Those things influence your choices. But if you are acting the script of God, He's the chief producer, He made you. Now, if you act a script and say His word, what He has said concerning you to yourself, it influences the choices you make. It is very critical and very powerful. Yeah. Then the last one in this series is your company. We can't deny that fact. Your company. And like I said before, is one of the things that changed my life. Yeah, when Saul was among the prophets, they said, and he was prophesying, they said, is Saul among the prophets too? What happened was a change of company. People around you are your gatekeepers. You want to watch that. It could be that the choices you are making is because of the people around you. There's no way you can see. Uneven development limits any potential. And scriptures advises us, don't be unequally yoked. There's no two ways about it because it has its consequence. And you can't make the right and say, I'm changing them. I'm the good one among them. You know, somebody very close to me that I love so much. You know, I always tell her, and I said, when she compares herself, she compares herself with people who are struggling, you know, and say, at least I'm better than this person. I will say, no. That's not an healthy comparison. Compare yourself with the people who are doing great, who are doing well, who are meeting their targets. Yeah. So you want to, you don't be a local champion. Don't do that. Don't be with somebody who indulges you. Be around somebody who indulges your habits, indulges. They will lead you to make the wrong choice, and the consequence it will span up to your family, it will span up to the chains that the people that are connected to you. So you may want to do a friendship and relationship audit because it's called a ship. A ship is moving in a particular direction. So please, you want to do that. It will influence the kind of choices you make. Friendships are powerful. It changed my life. It changed. In fact, when I took a new turn, you know, my friends that I used to have back in the days, you know, they were angry with me. They were angry. I said, this one, you're not feeling that he's not born again. Man, I had to go. When I saw these other guys, when they were speaking destiny, at the age of 21, they are saying that they are building nations. They are going to nations. They are changing things. I said, man, this kind of thing is eye-sounding, but I like it. It began to change how I began to see life, the possibilities around us. You can't be around company who don't make the right choices and you expect to make right. It's not possible. It's not. So you want to watch that. You want to watch that. Very important. My friends, this is where I want us to pay some level of attention. Yeah, and I know this will bless you, you know, because in studying it, it blessed me. Yeah. And this is about the last slide. I know time is fast spent, and I promised that by 8:30 we'll be done. So I'm right on track. Yeah. This is, I know most of us know this guy. He's called Daniel. We're still speaking about choices. Yeah. I want to talk about where the best of decisions are made from. Yeah. So this is Daniel in the lion's den. Most of us know the story. But there are two things that guides everybody's decision making or choices. Is either you walk by principles or you walk by preferences. Yeah. And I want you to follow me closely, because when I said that you have a preferred or you have a destination you want to arrive at, the road will not always be smooth. No, it may not always be smooth. But if you are guided by principles rather than preferences, then there's every tendency of you actualizing your dream. Now, principles. Daniel was in a new city. And let me tell you something about Daniel. He served 5 kings. So this is a story that we will want to. And he served 5 kings, not because of anything, but because of the choices he made. And we're going to learn from his story what guided his choices. 5 kings. Do you know what it means to serve 5 kings? They just kept coming and, you know, recommending Daniel. Recommend that this guy is exceptional. And we see what happened in the life of Daniel. He was a successful man. And look at what choices did to him. Remember, when he came, they were famished looking, they were looking famished. And they said, oh boy, come and eat from the king's table. That was supposed to be a nourishing experience. Do you understand? It was supposed to be something that everybody is looking. Some of us will not even wait, sir. We will just, run straight to it. Do you understand? The same person, he said, no, he wasn't going to do it. Why? Where did that come from? It is beyond preference, because from the definition of what preferences are, is a greater liking for one alternative over the other. Preferences and choices made on preferences is established on likes, dislikes, and desires. Is a dangerous and destructive way, unsustainable, to live and raise children when you make choices based on preferences. Because it is what you prefer, is how you feel. You just make a choice, how you feel. There's a table in front of you, and they say, if you don't do this, you will enter lion's den. You think about the lion's den and say, chai, what is there? I prefer to still be alive than enter lion's den. Okay, let me just eat. After all, I will look fresh. Those were choices that most people would have made. But they refused to make those choices. And they said they will not partake of that table. They will not do that for principle's sake. So you see that principles are stronger than preferences, because preferences can make you lose your how will I put this now? Can make you lose your reward. They are unstable. You live based on trends. As the trends are changing, you change your choices, and that's why standards are dropping. People don't longer have standards. Is what is reigning. If you make choices based on preferences, there is no real sense of direction for living. You just live for yourself. It's how he's doing you. You wake up today, it's how he's doing you. You like to pray, you pray. If you don't like to pray, you don't pray. It's not a principle for you. You do things how you like. You are in front of you see a lady, you like to fornicate today. I feel like fornicate, you fornicate. You just live based on liking whatever you like. Whatever you like. That is not that is a destructive way of living. Yeah. And most times when you do that, you live in fear of rejection. Sometimes it's peer pressure. You want to please everyone around you. That is when you begin to live by preferences. What will they say? Let me just do it. What will they say? You understand? Let me just do it. What is there? I beg, the king, how will he feel? If Joseph was thinking about this woman holding his skirt, how will she feel? He would have stayed there. But he ran for his dear life. Why did he run? He was not afraid of the prison. But anybody that lives based on preferences, my dear, it will, because of the fear of rejection, it will indulge. People indulge because of the fear of rejection. And they lack moral convictions. What's their belief system about sex, about emotion, about money? People just do things and make choices, cheat systems, not because of anything. It's because of their preferences. It's opportunity. They will say it's opportunity to make it. Oh yeah, they make it. Opportunity to make it, they make it. So they are living for themselves. This in our generation, we have to chart a new course. Why was Daniel exceptional? Is because he made choices based on principles. And what is principle in this light? Is a moral rule based on the word of God, guiding our conduct. It is established on convictions and belief. And remember, I said choices are established on beliefs, on values. We must fix this for us to be able to make right choices. Principles are designed for our protection. Now, principles, when you are living by principles, you are living for a cause that is greater than yourself. Unlike when you are living for preferences, you are living for yourself, how it suits you. It's not everywhere I can go to. Irrespective of how my friends are inviting me, I say, I want to have business meeting. Now, because people live for themselves and trends and based on preference, if business meeting is happening in a nightclub, you say, after I'll just go there and sit down, it's business meeting. No, Daniel didn't have to do that. Yet he served 5 kings. They told him, you cannot worship, you cannot worship. No, 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 no. Daniel said, this is my conviction. You can't stop me from my beliefs. He was not ashamed of his God, and God was not ashamed of him. He made choices based on his conviction. And look at what happened, because he was living for a cause greater than himself. Friends, are you living for a cause greater than yourself, or are you living for yourself? Because if you are living for yourself, it affects the kind of choices you make. You just wake up and decide. But if you are living for a cause greater than yourself, then you have to put into consideration that which you are living for. Very important. For instance, as men that are married, we all know, you stop living for yourself. Everything you are thinking about your children. You are thinking about your children. You are thinking about your children. So you don't just wake up and say, the whole money in my account, I choose to do whatever I want to do. No, that's how to live for a cause. Now, what cause are you living for? Have you found it? And that's the greater cause we're talking about here, is the kingdom of God. Whether I like it or not, it has been prophesied, it will come. So begin to find yourself, your place in it. Yeah. Now, when you live by principles, you have clarity of beliefs, you have non-negotiables. When you see somebody who does not have non-negotiables, can negotiate anything, negotiate their destiny, negotiate their integrity, negotiate their life, forget it. The same thing that happened between Jacob and Esau. He just negotiated his destiny out. He wasn't living for a cause greater than himself. He was hungry that time. Is his food. He needed food that time, and he sold his birthright. He was living by preferences. He preferred food than his birthright. He said, "Give me, let me eat now." Yeah. Now, when you live by principles, also there's predictable eternal outcome and reward. Because you just open up yourself to the miraculous, because the consequences is now in the hands of God. And there's no best place to be. Yeah. So as men, we must be able to have these principles. It is key, is important. No matter what is dangling in our face all the time, we must stick and say, no, we are husbands of one man. We'll raise our children according to the dictates of God. Now, when they invite to do stuff, say, no, I can't be. See, these things work. Yeah, it has the ability to persevere through conflict, because conflict will come. If you are living by principles, conflict will come, but it gives you the strength to persevere through conflict. And guess what? They will come and say tomorrow, man, this guy is just an amazing guy, because he refused to give in, he refused to budge. Then guess what? It makes the yoke. You exchange your heavy burdens and you collect easy yokes and light burdens. People who understand, you know what I'm talking about. Jesus said, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, I will give you rest." He said, "Take my yoke upon you. My yoke is easy and my body is light." Daniel said, even if it doesn't save me, even if God does not come true, that was principle. And God saw this, and God showed up in his sovereignty. And that's the last point there. You believe firmly in the sovereignty of God, and God intervenes when you live by principles, and that guides your choices. So friends, if you don't have this, it's something that I want you to develop. It's something that I want you to have. Yeah, these are my final thoughts tonight. Because we've spoken a lot about choices, how it's in your power to do it, the power of decision, what choices you need to make, the critical parts to make choices. We know there is a power given to us, but I want to land on this point today by reading these few scriptures in front of you. The first one is in Jeremiah chapter, I think it's about 2 verse 23. It says, "O Lord, I know the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man who walks to direct his own steps." Now listen, this is a power that has been given to you, but guess what? You don't know how to use it. You need help to use it. For the fact that you have something doesn't mean you can use it. It's just like you have your money and you walk into a phone store and you buy a phone. You have the phone, doesn't mean you know how to use it. Listen, for the fact that you have the power to choose doesn't mean that you know what to use it for. It doesn't mean that you can use it effectively. And Jeremiah came to this conclusion. He said, "I know that the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man who walks to direct his own steps." This suggests that, oh boy, with your ability to choose, you need guide. We all need guide to choose. Philippians chapter 2, verse 13, there was a line there that says, it's God who works in us, both to will and to work. Both to will and to work. Without the one who has given us this ability to choose, we cannot, I pronounce again, we cannot effectively make right choices. Now, Proverbs chapter 14, verse 12, the last line there says, there is a way that looks harmless enough. Look again. Look again. He says something there. It leads straight to hell. That's a very harsh word, but that is the word. It looks like a way that looks harmless enough. So you cannot even make choices by mere five senses. It has its limitation. It will fail you. That brings me to the last scripture there. And you shall hear a word, Isaiah chapter 30, verse 21. You shall hear a word behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it, when you turn to the right and when you turn to the left. Friends, tonight, this is where I draw the curtain and this is where I land. Please, this is a power we have received. We know the capacity of choice, the place and the power of making decisions. But guess what? We are not wired to be able to use it. It's not in our purview to use it alone. We need help. We need guide. And the one who has given it to us is ever ready, ever present for a generation who will say, this thing you are giving to me, please guide me and help me to be able to use it to my profiting and the profiting of your kingdom and the reason to which you are giving to me. He gave it to us for a reason, the power to choose. We cannot use it without him. Let us give him the space. Let us make room for him to be able to work in us, to will and to do. That means what it means, because will, that's where choices come from and decisions. That is where it comes from. So tonight, I enjoin you. Whatever you are doing right now, I want you to, whether tonight, tomorrow morning, every choice you make sure that you surrender it. You hear what he has to say. He is speaking. He is a God that speaks. Listen, this is the only way out for a generation that will cause, a move, that will cause a change. If you want things to change in your life, you have the power to do it. But with that power, you need guide. So that's why I'm inviting you tonight to that guide to help us, make the right choices. I pray this session has been a blessing to every one of us. And I pray you've learned one or two things. I'll just leave the chat room right now for anyone that has any question. If you have any question, we could take one or two. And just to also say that these choices, this is an overview of what choices are about. Now, there are choices you make in terms of career, your spouse, your finances. These are narrowed down to different segments in which choices count and matter. In the chat room today, we have professionals who have walked through this path. And I know if I say they should speak now, so we're going to be having follow-up sessions that will talk about choices and narrow it down to specific areas. Because as men, God is interested in us. I'm speaking to the men on the call tonight. A lot of things rest on our shoulders. The first instruction came to the first man. The choice also was what he made. His choice finally broke the camel's back. It was a man that also came to redeem man. Listen, as men, we must begin to make the right choice. Our generations depend on it. If you don't have the mechanism to make the right choice, if you don't, you may need to go through this again and even contact people who can help you. It is important that we make the right choices for generations to come. So thank you very, very much. Any questions, please, or any comments? I want to take them now. Any questions or any comments, please? I hope we are there. Any questions or any comments on choices? In the chat room, if you have any question, please. Okay, good. Great. Thank you, sir. Thank you for responding. Any question or any comment? Is either everything is properly understood or or the thing is pinching somehow, or or want to meditate about it, or you need time to meditate about it, So let's just get a feedback. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for thanking me. Okay. So if we don't have, oh great, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of it. I appreciate you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, the right choices are an intersection of our purpose and values. Yes, that's it. Thank you very much. That's it. You got it. You got it right on point, Vernon. So yeah, it's an intersection, of our purpose and values. So we need to get that fixed. When we get that fixed, every other thing will just fall in place. That's a summary. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Lawrence, for that. Thank you. Thanks for the feedback, everyone. Let's just keep it coming. I like to read them. Okay. Finally, from me tonight, just introducing to us again what we do. For those who don't know, myself and my wife, we are lead visionaries of the Tri-Family Network. Yeah, this is our mission, is to empower families, to thrive, to invade and dislodge the God of this world from the family mountain and raise a godly generation. That's what we are about. So we have different arms, of the Tri-Family Network. We have the Family by Design, which we run for families. Family by Design, which we run for families. That's like a 1-week course for families. Some of my friends in here have gone through that. We have the You Again. The You Again are for divorces, people who have divorced and they want to rediscover themselves. We have that course for them. We have the You Before Us. The You Before Us is also another arm of the Tri-Family Network, anchored by my wife, and she runs it for singles, just getting to discover themselves and before they now cling to somebody else. It's very, very important. Then we have the E-Tribes. That's one of the things that God has commissioned to do. What we're doing tonight is actually powered by E-Tribes, and we have the Angel Hounds Family Care Foundation. That's an organization that we run. It's an outreach program that we run to cater for the needs of people. So that is who we are as a network, and what we do. Yeah, so I sincerely want to appreciate everyone for joining the call tonight. And I hope it has been impactful, and I hope you were blessed by that session. Even if I didn't get to see, okay, so there's a message there for you to be able to connect. Thank you. Okay, recording, yes, to be available. The recording will be available. We'll put it on the WhatsApp group after downloading it. Thank you so much, Emeka, for joining. I sincerely want to appreciate all of you, my friends, for joining tonight. We hope to have this, regularly as we treat other topics that are important and are dear to our transitioning and becoming all that God wants us to become. Yeah, so I want to sincerely appreciate everyone. Thank you very much. So you can follow us on Instagram. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. You can follow us, the Tri-Family Network. We are there. From time to time, we're posting some rich content also. Let me stop the recording. 1 second, please.